Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for June 1st. June 1st is the 152nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 153rd in leap years, with 213 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is reciprocity. Reciprocity is a noun that means the practice or principle of exchange with others for mutual benefit, or in response to their actions. A mutual exchange of actions. I first encountered the word reciprocity decades ago when I was working at a doctor's office. Sometimes we would have patients who had, say, for instance, Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans that had a symbol with an arrow pointing in both directions with the word reciprocity. This meant that if the patient had Blue Cross and Blue Shield from, say, for instance, Texas with this symbol on it, but they were in Oklahoma seeking services, they'd be covered in Oklahoma just as if they were in Texas. Or if they had such a designation on their card and they had Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, but they were in, say, for instance, Illinois, they'd be covered in Illinois just as if they were in Oklahoma. I'm going here on decades-old memory. There's a few cobwebs in there, but it seems like maybe there was some special way we had to file those claims, but if it said reciprocity, they'd be covered just as if they were at home. That was my first encounter with the word reciprocity. Now, I think of reciprocity as kind of a you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours kind of mutually beneficial situation. One will often see people engaging in a mutual exchange of favors and acts of reciprocity. You see it in healthy relationships, too, with both partners contributing equally to the emotional well-being and satisfaction of one another, or in diplomacy and international relations, where nations seek to achieve mutually beneficial exchanges of resources, cooperation, and agreements. Even in nature, symbiotic relationships between species can be seen as a form of reciprocity, with a mutual exchange of some sort that increases or enhances the survival and prosperity of both participants. Take this example of the birds on the ox. The birds eat bugs from the ox's skin, the birds get fed, and the ox gets relief from the bugs. Reciprocity. The key factor here is the mutually beneficial partnership nature of the relationship, and each party contributes value and receives benefit from that relationship. The word reciprocity has evolved to us from Latin. First documented use of the word reciprocity is about 1570. Reciprocity. Reciprocity was recommended by one of my viewers, and if you have a word you'd like us to explore, drop it down in the comments. If I can find it in the dictionary, and it's not nasty, I'll talk about it. And with that, on June 1st, 1495, a monk named John Core recorded the first known batch of Scotch whiskey. This is the birthday of French missionary and explorer Jacques Marquette, born June 1st, 1637. We've mentioned him before in reference to his explorations along with Louis Joliet. The two of them were the first Europeans to explore and map the northern portions of the Mississippi River Valley. Times were hard back then, though, and sadly he only lived to the age of 37, having succumbed to a case of dysentery. I believe we've mentioned the War of 1812 fairly recently, and on June 1st, 1812, U.S. President James Madison asked Congress to declare war on the United Kingdom. James Clark Ross became the first European at the North Magnetic Pole on June 1st, 1831. Tennessee and Kentucky achieved statehood, and the Minnesota Territory was declared on June 1st in various years. And there are several other notable birthdays that we've mentioned before, as well as other events mentioned in previous episodes for June 1st, so I'll include a link in case you'd like to check that out. Today's song is Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel. The song Mrs. Robinson was written specifically for the 1967 film The Graduate and appears on Simon and Garfunkel's fourth studio album, Bookends. It was released as a single in April of 1968, and here we are at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on June 1st, 1968, for the first of 3 weeks. This song has been covered by a number of artists, including Frank Sinatra, and appears in several instances of popular culture. Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel, number 1, June 1st, 1968. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoyed this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Getter. All those links in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Do not disturb.
Okay, I turned Do Not Disturb on.
Good job. Third time better be a charm. There's no thee there. One more time. Attracting. Just read the whole thing over. Are you making some sound? Get on out of here. And we're gonna edit that out. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty. Back to work. I think we got it this time.